Zirax, the seasoned commander of the Stellar Salvager, stood on the observation deck, his gaze fixed on the hulking remains of the Federation star station. Towering and sinewy, Zirax's elongated limbs ripple with latent power. His skin, a mosaic of luminescent scales, shifts hues with his emotions, a living chromatophore display. His eyes, twin orbs of swirling nebulae, hold the secrets of forgotten graveyards. It was his third cycle scrapping such relics in the Orion Delta system, but this one was different. Orbiting the crimson heart of a red dwarf star named Orion's Eye, the station held secrets in its core that could alter the balance of power in the quadrant. The urgency to complete the salvage weighed heavily on Zirax's shoulders. 6 wreckmasters and their tireless crews worked full shifts, yet progress remained frustratingly behind schedule. The station's twisted metal and fractured hull mocked their efforts. Time was slipping away, and the pressure gnawed at Zirax's resolve. He needed a moment of respite. Zirax reached over to the cluttered console and grabbed his I Love New York cup. It was from a backwater planet the locals called Earth, a place he'd visited during a rare shore leave. The cup's faded skyline depicted a city in their 20th century, but its warmth and familiarity comforted him. He took a sip of the dark roasted coffee, the taste transporting him across light years to crowded streets and bustling cafes. The only regret was he didn't get more of the brew when he had the chance. The replicator's coffee didn't taste the same no matter what molecule arrangement it did. And then there was Maximilian, the creature that had somehow stowed away on his lander when he was in New York. The humans called it a feline or simply a cat. Zirax had discovered it curled up in a corner, its fur shimmering with iridescent hues. By the time they realized its presence, it had already begun to mutate, adapting to the harsh conditions of space and a steady diet of nepopod. They were a soft body pest, one that almost every ship was now infested with. Zirax looked down at Max, its eyes reflecting the distant glow of the dying star. He couldn't take it back. Cross-species contamination protocols forbade it. So, he kept it, a silent companion amidst the cold metal and sterile corridors. Maximilian, a name that held both irony and hope. As the salvage crew toiled, Zirax wondered about the station's secrets. What had the Federation hidden here? And why had they abandoned it? He glanced down at his coffee, realizing how much he missed that undeveloped planet. The Stellar Salvager would prevail. Zirax would see to it. He'd salvage more than metal, he'd uncover truths that could reshape the galaxy. And as he sipped from his coffee, Max brushed up against his leg and began to make a series of buzzing sounds. The humans called it purring. Reaching down, Zirax picks Max up, petting the feline as he observed the changes in Maximilian. The once ordinary feline underwent a remarkable transformation. The mutations were no longer subtle, they were accelerating, reshaping the creature in ways that defied natural laws. Max's fur, once velvety soft, now felt coarse and unyielding. It clung to his skin like a second layer, but this was no ordinary fur. It had taken on a metallic sheen, reflecting the cold light of distant stars. Tiny flecks of stardust seemed embedded within each strand as if the very fabric of space had woven itself into his coat. Zirax's breath caught when he looked into Max's eyes. They were no longer the familiar feline orbs. Instead, they had changed, elongated, sharp, and mesmerizing. The irises shifted through a spectrum of colors, cerulean blue, nebula green, and the deepest violet. But it was the pupils that held the most intrigue. They had transformed into tiny galaxies, their many suns hinting at hidden dimensions. Zirax reached out to stroke Max's whiskers. They no longer twitched with curiosity, instead, they extended like delicate antennae. Each whisker hummed with energy, resonating at frequencies beyond perception. When Max brushed against the ship's hull, sparks danced along the metal, leaving faint trails of luminescence. In the shadow of Orion's Eye, Zirax stood resolute, a commander caught between duty and curiosity, between salvage and revelation. The stars whispered their secrets, and he listened, mug in hand, feline at his side. The largest salvage fleet in the system would not falter, not while Zirax still breathed. Red emergency lights bathed the control room in an eerie glow. Commander Zirax's heart raced. The proximity alarm blared, its shrill wail echoing through the metal corridors. Outside the reinforced windows, the void of space seemed to press in, hungry and relentless. "What the hell is out there?" demanded Zirax, his three spiky knuckles white as he gripped the console. The crew exchanged nervous glances, their eyes darting to the flickering radar screen. The ship shuddered, and the artificial gravity faltered for a moment, sending loose tools and data pads floating. The crew held their breath. Was it pirates? A rogue AI? Or something far worse? Zirax's mind raced, considering every possibility. But one thing was certain, they were not alone out here. End of Chapter 1.